we should be
We're
live.
live! I'm on Facebook! Hi, everybody. How are ya?
Hello, everyone. This is ACDC, Araceli and Colette, the Dynamic Change. My name is Araceli, and I'm a transition wealth advisor, and I specialize in working with single professional women to arrange their finances so they can pay their debt quicker and retire faster. So I'm here with my partner, Colette. Colette, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. And you know what? Honestly, today's subject is not just for women. So I am Colette Rava. I'm a real estate broker. I work in the GTA and residential. I think what we have in common, Araceli and I, ACDC stands for Araceli and Colette, Dynamic Change, because we want to help you change your finances, help you move forward in your finances and with real estate buying or selling. And that way, we want to really give you dynamic change in your life. And today is not just about women, but for everybody who is watching, we want to help you figure out your finances, how to set goals, how to get yourself all figured out. Because I find a lot of younger people that have, let's say finished university or college, they've moved out from their house, their parents' house, and they want to start building wealth, their own personal wealth. How do they do it? How do they invest? Do they buy real estate? Do they buy? So it's a huge subject. So we're going to try and break it down into really bite-sized pieces and things that you can just really start and do today. And that way to set up your financial future. So we're so excited that you're here. We're so happy to talk to you about this, and hope you get something out of it. So please don't forget at the end, comment, leave a little note, thumbs up, whatever it is. Follow us on YouTube, just to let us know, ask us questions, because we'd love to answer your questions too. Sorry, I'm talking so much. So let's get started, shall we?
Yeah. So let me tell you one thing, Colette, that this subject is, like you said, for everyone. And the reason that we want to talk about it is because no matter what stage of your career, whether you're starting to work, or you are kind of halfway through, I have seen kind of like the end, like each end of the spectrum, somebody that just starting and they want to create a budget, and somebody that is kind of halfway through their career, they went through transition and now they don't know what they have.
Yeah.
And how much is available.
Right.
Is so important. And it is just so basic that people, they just really don't harness the power of it, right?
Right. But even so let's just use me as a very bad example. So I have been married for, well, I'm going through separation, but I was married for years and years and years, and my husband took care of all the finances, which, we would talk about it. It's not like I didn't know what was going on, but he was the one doing a spreadsheet. He was the one paying the bills. He was the one saying, okay, well, we need to take some money out of this account, or I have this much money. Should we put it into our RSPs, or where should we do, so we were sort of not really on top. I don't want to say on top of things, but we were like, we always knew exactly how much we had. And we set our goals when we first got married to say, we want to buy a house. We both need cars for work, and we would budget and we would figure it out, but not very formally. And I think that was wrong. I think that we could have done a better job to really know, to rein in the spending a little bit. Now, so why I wanted to talk about this too was because the questions I get a lot are, number one, how can I afford to buy a property? Number two, how do I get started? Number three, what can I afford? So like these questions of like, how much can I afford? And this is the pet peeve that I have. I'm sure you agree. But, the question is, we all have the internet. We all have these supercomputers on our desks, in our hands. There's so much information online, but it seems like people still don't know the basics. They still don't know how to get the information that they desire. And this is why we do this. I'm sure you can Google whatever you want. You can just type it in. But it's to have this personal touch and a conversation with either one of us to say, okay, this is how you get started.
That's right. So one of the things about the internet, yeah, you're right. You can find spreadsheets, you can find apps,
yeah, right.
Everything that you can possibly think of. Now, it is going the other direction. Before we didn't have enough information. Now we have way too much information that now is so overwhelming that people decide at the end not to do anything, right?
Right. It is overwhelming.
You have software, apps, computer, you can create your own spreadsheet, everything.
Right.
But people at the end of the day have to use it, which is the hardest part. It's like going to the gym. You may get the membership,
Right.
but don't go, well, you're not.
That's not the easy part. Right.
Right?
The hard part is to actually go and do the work. So same thing with this spreadsheet. You still need to find, the information that's out there. You get your hydro bill right here. Sorry, you can't see it, but hydro bill. So this is something that we all have to take it and then take a moment and put it into a spreadsheet to say, okay, this is how much it is this month, because things like a hydro bill fluctuate. So it's not something that, is the same every month. So this is something that you know how to budget for, how to, especially with COVID when, my business has been a little bit different this year. So how do I budget for that? How do I know how much I need to make to actually pay my bills, let's say? So this is something that we all need to do. I know it's painful. I know it's not fun sometimes.
But it could be, you know what it could be.
It could be.
Change that mindset. I think it's just a mindset that we all have that, oh my God, there's so much detail. Oh, this is so painful to do. But you know what? It's the same thing that going to the gym, right? But you want the results, right?
You want the results.
Exactly. And doing it consistently is the same thing. Just like you do your health, it's also your finances, because those two are hand in hand. If you don't have health,
why? No, you're right. Those people, I envy those people that go to the gym and they love it and they want to do it and they can't wait because they know the results, that the feeling that they get.
Exactly.
And never mind the working out. It's just that kind of relief of saying, I've accomplished something today. I put those numbers into the spreadsheet, so I know what I need to do and what's the next goal.
Yeah. So what you need to do is, just like the gym or the food, everything that you prepare to be better, you need to schedule that into your time. What is the best time that you have a little bit of time to go over your finances, especially if you are self-employed? Because what happens, self-employed people don't have a steady paycheck, right?
Right.
Because you have a big paycheck and then you have a small paycheck or no paycheck, right?
Right.
But I get this a lot, especially from self-employed people. Say, well, I don't have a consistent income. When I have a consistent income, I'm going to do it. No, this is completely backwards.
I agree.
Do it first, because then you know what to aim at.
Right. And how do you set a goal too if you don't know what's coming in? To really fly by the seat of your pants and kind of just, fingers crossed, you can't do that. So maybe if self-employment doesn't work for you, you might have to get another job, because if you set a goal, I think everything, just like going to the gym, just like anything else, you want to buy a house, you want to put money into RSP, whatever it is, you still have to set that goal. So if you don't have a goal to work towards it, then, then fly by the seat of your pants. I guess it's okay.
Yeah.
But who doesn't set goals? Like, who doesn't say, okay, I need to maintain this kind of, even just to maintain this kind of lifestyle?
Exactly. So that's the first thing that you need to decide on, is what kind of lifestyle do you want to have? If you're starting and you are renting, for example, sometimes you may have to rent for a while before you can move on.
Right.
In order to complete or get that goal that you want. But if you don't add the numbers, like some people actually get themselves into a home that they cannot afford.
Right.
And that is actually very sad, because then people started to get really stressed. They get a lot of debt.
Right.
And they continue to live a life that they cannot afford. And it is easier to shut it down, to say, no, I don't want to look at the numbers, because they already kind of know it's not the right numbers. So
let's play this scenario, because I find that people don't realize what can happen, especially during this pandemic. I mean, everybody's afraid. Everybody has this underlying stress that, if, or, let's just say if something has already happened, that they've either been laid off or reduced hours or whatever it is with their jobs, what's the next step? So and you know how I always like to have a plan B and a plan C sometimes when I do whatever it is, right? So with home ownership, sorry.
Now that we're going through all of these, the pandemic, and if you've been affected in any way, I think everybody has been affected in one way or another, right?
Of course, yeah.
Some others more if you have been laid off and you don't know when you're coming back to work, or you're being laid off permanently and you need to get another job.
Or you don't have the proper savings.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the perfect time to take a look at what you are spending, right? I have conversations with people and they say, well, I spend this much in food, and I'm going like, what are you buying, right? And it says, well, no, we want to buy organic. But then when they tell me what they make, I'm going, yeah, sure, I want to, buy organic too, but if you cannot afford it, there's only so much that you can do, right?
Right.
The battles and decide what you're going to do, because at the end of the day, the formula is basically very simple. If you spend more than what you make, you're always going to be in trouble, no matter what it is that you do, right?
Well, so what I was going to say was something like, and I think we spoke about this last, I'm not sure if we spoke about it on the show or we just talked, because Araceli and I do actually talk before and after the show. We are friends. We do actually have conversations. So we talked about something like, let's say in my situation, I'm going through a separation. I have this big house. I have to pay my bills. I also have to figure out my settlement with my ex. What do? I have equity in my house. How do I harness this to make not just my payments, but actually to make my life better? So, technically speaking, I could take my whole house and rent it for a few years. I could move to the basement, have my own separate apartment. It's me and a couple of my daughters, my two kids could easily move into the basement. It's big enough that, sure, it's not super comfortable and it's not this big giant house, but and if we have to do that, I have a plan B. It's not the end of the world. I can do it. I could also, I hate to say I could move in with my parents. They would probably love it, but I'm not going to do that. So there's always a way, even though it might make you a little uncomfortable. If you don't know the numbers, if you don't have that spreadsheet, don't even have the conversation with yourself. Go speak to Araceli first. Have that spreadsheet done. Do you have an example of what I'm talking about?
I can show you in just a few minutes. I'll show you what I do. But I just want to come back to you and tell you that this is so important. Seems so basic, but I have seen it over and over and over with my clients, right? That they are going over and above what they are making, and they're getting themselves into trouble. And I says, well, my debt is not going down. Of course not. Of course it's not going down, right?
Yeah.
So I try to go back to the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is that sometimes we don't want to look at the numbers in detail. And my say is always, the devil is in the details, right? If you don't look at that, then you don't know where you are. If you get out of your house and drive, and you say you want to go to Florida, but don't have a map or don't have a GPS, would you go to Florida? Do you know if you're going in the right direction?
It might take you 3 times as long. You might get there.
10 times as long.
Right.
Just because by the time you figure out that you're going in the total wrong direction, and then you stop, and then somebody's going to tell you, you got to go back.
Or you're going to end up in a swamp.
Yeah, exactly. So you really want to look at that. It's just very basic. And I think that because of, like you said, the internet, now everybody wants to know how to invest. Do I go buy Bitcoin? Do I buy this big stock? No. Take a look at your budget first, and then you can decide what to do after that.
Right. Because, saying, okay, I want to invest in real estate. Okay, great.
Yeah,
but if you have $10,000, then you might not be able to invest in real estate. You might be able to invest in real estate in the States, or, a very small place somewhere way up north, who knows, with like 10 other people. But it's all about how much you have, how much you're willing to spend a month, because there's carrying costs too with real estate. So there's a lot of factors too. So would you invest in stocks? Would you invest in, insurance? Would you invest? And, like, this is the other thing I want to say too about this show. we are just here to answer your questions. Our information is not really to say, oh, you should be doing this or you should be doing that. This is just our opinion. And if you want one-on-one advice, then talk to us, because everybody's situation is different. So I want to make that clear too, that everybody's situation is a little bit different, and how much the main goal first is to figure out what you want to do, set yourself a goal, know your numbers, and then come talk to us, and then we'll help you out with the rest.
And remember, everything goes back to lifestyle. What is your lifestyle? You know, do you have kids? Are they younger? Are they older? How much space do you need? How much space do you want? Do you have anything particular? Maybe you work at home. You have to have a specific area for your business. There's many factors that are going to decide what you can and you can't do.
Right.
But at the end of the day, when you have the numbers and then you have the lifestyle, you got to match them up, right? And I said, can I do this? And then you have to start weeding out what is not required to be able to make it fit. So
right.
I'm going to show you quick.
I think, yeah, go ahead. I was going to say, I'm always very positive about stuff like this, because I always think that, of course, I could like rent out my house and then I could go to Paris and, you know, live in Paris for a year.
Wow.
Yeah, possible. Maybe not during COVID, but you know, like there's always a way. There's always a way to figure it out. How do you do it? But it really takes knowledge and knowing what you have and knowing what you need to have to cover your nut, so you can run away to Paris or wherever to, you know, take a break from, you know, reality sometimes. But honestly, the day-to-day, this is, you know, we're not talking about that. We're talking about day-to-day expenses. And, oh, this is something that you do for your clients. What are we looking at?
Something that I do with my clients if they don't have a budget. Some of my clients are very organized, but the majority of them, they require some kind of a template to follow. And the reason
that's awesome
is because there's so many things that most people don't consider. So if you have, this is just a summary of what I look at. What is the housing total cost, transportation, personal insurance, professional dues if you are, like I'm a professional engineer, so I have to pay dues. I also have to pay business-related licenses that they come in every year. You have to eat, so that's food. If you have pets, most people don't put that in there, but pets is a big expense.
Oh, sure they are. They're a huge expense.
So they are going in there as well. Personal care, all the stuff that you do for yourself. Entertainment. Loan payments, ooh, big one, right?
Yeah.
Taxes, if you're self-employed, you must budget that. I see a lot of my clients that are self-employed and they just take their entire paycheck and they spend it. Not a good situation, right? You got to plan for your taxes. Savings and investments, big. This is the kind of like the extra money that you have that you put aside, whether to invest in real estate, whether to invest in your RSP, maybe your TFSA, or other type of investments at all. Another one that people really ignore is the gifts and donations. You really figure out what that is.
And to be quite honest, like this is something that, you know, and what we were talking about, bite-sized pieces. So even if you do this every day or every week, and you just don't, you know, you have your spreadsheet of every month or whenever you pay your bills, and you just enter it very, you know, lots of times during, it's less painful to do it that way. Yeah. And the other thing too is this is not wasted, because at the end of the year, when you have to do your income tax, everything is done for you. It's already spread out. So I love this idea. I wish I did it, you know, way earlier than just, you know, I only started a couple years ago. But this is fantastic. If you're not doing it already, I highly recommend you do it.
And the other thing as well is legal. Some people like yourself that are getting divorced, you have lots of legal fees that you are paying or you have to pay. And I know how much you're paying. So all of these has to be put into here, because you know what, if you are going to be, or you know that you have to go to court and that you have to hire a lawyer, then you need to put that into your spreadsheet for the following year so you can allocate some funds for it.
Of
But this
course.
is just kind of like the summary, and I'm going to go very quickly through the details of it. So each one of these, first of all, you're going to have, if you put all your sources of income here, so if you have a paycheck from work, maybe you have a part-time job, maybe you have an income property that is giving you a little bit of money every month, put it all in here and it'll calculate what is the total net. Okay, it's got to be net.
Yeah.
If you are self-employed, you can put the gross amount, but then we're going to have to add the taxes at the end, so it'll be an expense. So if you see here, you have the housing expenses. If you do have an investment property, I have one for your principal residence, one for the investment property, your cell phone, electricity, all of that will be in here. If you have an alarm, if you pay for waste removal, that's very important in a property. If you have, you know, a multifamily, it's important to have.
Yeah. Or maintenance, like you have a condo and there's a maintenance fee.
Absolutely.
So
For that, I
there.
always try to budget a certain percentage of what the houses cost or what you know is going to happen. If
Right.
you do the roof or you're going to do a major, that you got to plug it in here into a monthly basis.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And you have your vehicle. You may have a payment or lease payment. If you don't have a vehicle, you may have bus for taxi fares or Ubers.
Right. Oh, that can, you know, that adds
That
up.
is
You know,
so much money.
yeah, I'm
right?
looking at my kids too, and you know, taking
Absolutely.
there. I
You
mean,
gotta
it
put that in there as well. So,
right.
and you can do an estimate, like if you know that you use Uber once or twice a week, what is the estimate? You go to your app, it'll tell you exactly how much you spend, and you
Right.
do an average. Insurance, your licensing, and a lot of people forget that, but you pay that every year or every 2 years, depending on how you do it, right? But you
Right.
go and put it into here, and it's like about $20 a month if you factor it in. You have fuel, your maintenance in the car. How many, you know, how old is your car, and how many times you're going to do a repair?
Right.
Car wash. Most people don't even factor that in. That's also big expensive. You have an SUV, 40, $50 every time you go in there, right? You want to do it once a month, that adds up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, for personal insurance, depending if you are working for an employer, you may have some of this included, but you may not. You may want to know if you want to buy your own insurance, how much it'll cost you, and you have to put it all in here.
Right.
Now, if you are a professional and have to pay professional dues,
Yeah.
plug it in. If you need to do a course in order to renew your license, plug it in here, because you know that if you have to take a $300 course once a year, you got to know that it's there.
Right. And that again goes to your annual tax return too.
Absolutely.
So, so always write that down, and meals as well. Like again, for business owners, writing down meals, writing down gas, writing down mileage, all that stuff. If you're working with the good accountant, or if you know what you're doing with, because I can't do my own taxes, I have to hire my accountant.
Correct.
And she always asks me these questions. Home office and home office. So you have to measure how big your home office is, because that also will look good on your taxes. So write all this down. So
this is another thing that is all business related expenses.
Yes.
If you are self-employed, right now we have lots of expenses, you know, like, you have Zoom calls, right? So you may be paying that, a premium one. Maybe you have other software that you use for your office. You have to buy paper, you have a printer, you have a computer. Maybe you have apps that you need to pay for. Office expenses, if you do have an office, like Colette, she has an office. So all of these here that you have to pay every month. Sometimes you have to pay it quarterly basis.
Right.
All of that you have to put it in, factor it in, make a note that this you paid once a year, and if it is $300, divided 300 into 12, and that's what the monthly expense it is. Food. Now we go into groceries, right? How much you would spend a month? Are you dining out a lot?
Yeah.
Or do
I
you
have,
want to do it once a week, once a month?
can I say one little thing? I was just, because while you were talking, I looked something up on my Instagram, and I posted something in May.
Yeah.
And actually, I think you commented on it too.
Yeah.
That I had a little note that it says, what does it take to blow $10,000 a year? Do you remember that post?
Yep.
$27.40 a day in miscellaneous spending. So this is what we're talking about. What is it to eat out for one person?
Yep.
Maybe 20 bucks, maybe with the tip and tax that's 30 bucks right there.
Yep.
So when you think about it, and $27.40 per day, even that's $10,000. So let's just say magically you don't spend $27 a day, but you might spend $100 a week. Guess what? That's 25 bucks in 5 days, let's say, or 7 days.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. It's $10,000 a year. So if you really think about how your little spending here and there, oh, I'm just going to go to Shoppers Drug Mart, or I'm just going to go, grab a bite to eat, or I'm just going to, go take a drive. All those little expenses add up. Maybe it's $10,000 a year. Maybe it's $20,000 that you can easily go without. Like, this is the interesting thing, that the articles I read about COVID and how people's their spending has changed because they can't go out anymore, because they are not doing that little miscellaneous spending. They're actually seeing money in their bank accounts. So some people are actually doing really well and saying, well, I really didn't have to go to the pub tonight. I really didn't have to, drive out of the city for whatever,
Yeah. But at the same time, Colette, it's not about restricting yourself, but it's about knowing and being aware of it.
Yes.
If you want to go out with your friends once a week,
of course,
put it in the budget, and that's it, right?
Yeah. But if you have a goal,
yeah.
I'm saying the only thing is, when people ask me, oh, well, I don't have the money, I don't know how to save. Okay, guess what? You might have to be a little uncomfortable by not getting your hair cut, let's say, as often as you do.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we all have a good excuse right now so to not get our hair cut all the time. But this is the thing. We have to be like this, to really look at a silver lining that COVID has given us, is that we can get out of our comfort zone a little bit to say, okay, let's have a moment to just reassess what we're spending. And do we really need to do this? Can I just take a walk with my friends in the park instead of going to a pub?
Yeah.
Again, please don't, I'm not saying don't go to your local restaurants and stores. By all means, please keep them open. But it's something that if you feel that you're struggling financially and you really need to find a little bit of money, this is an easy thing to do. Do the budget, look at it, so you know where your money's going.
That's right. So another thing, another section is the pets, which is the food, medical, sometimes.
You have to feed your pet. Let's just make that clear. Don't open the door and let them run away, please.
So you spend on grooming, depending on the type of pet that you have. Sometimes they have to go there once a month, right?
Right. So, what about babysitting, dog or cat sitting?
Yeah,
that's something. Yeah, a lot of people have to pay for walks. Like if you have a dog walker, if you're working. So that's an added expense, of course.
All the stuff that goes related to pets. And that's when I ask my clients, they say, oh, okay, yeah, I never thought about that. So every little bit starts to add up. Another big one is personal care, right?
Yes.
If you don't work for an employer that has benefits, then you are out of pocket with all the medical expenses. You got to pay for the dentist. If you go to the chiropractor, massage, physiotherapy, maybe you buy some vitamins. Remember, this is very, very important. A lot of people like to do this. Your hair and nails if you're a girl.
Or a boy. Hey, there's lots of guys that do their nails. They get facial. It's very good. Yeah.
But most likely a woman. So but if you're a boy and you want to do your nails and your hair, for sure.
Of course.
Clothing is a big one as well that people miss because
huge.
To the store, oh well, I want a pair of shoes. But how often do you go to the store?
Right.
And how much you spend every time?
Right.
That is also needs to be factoring. Do I have $500, $1,000 a year to spend? You can spend it all at once, or maybe few trips. I don't know, dependent, right?
Right, sure. And
Also,
especially if you have kids too, and they need, you know, these
absolutely,
things
they
too.
always have to have something.
Kids grow. It's really unfortunate. You have to keep buying them clothes because they grow out of stuff all the time.
Yeah, dry cleaning. It's another big one as well. Maybe not as much now because it's COVID, but and we
Right.
still have a home.
Sure.
But still, if you have a job in where you have to wear a suit or nice dresses, sometimes you do have to use the dry cleaning. And dry cleaning, the same, it adds up. $7, $10 a piece, then
Sure.
quite a bit. Now, if you go to the gym, health club, you may have other membership like hot yoga, Pilates, anything else that is related to might not be at the
Netflix.
gym.
Oh,
It's
sorry. That's personal care. Netflix is not personal care, is it?
another one is a cash on hand.
Yeah.
I usually try to have some little cash on me because if I drive, I want to buy coffee, tea, uh, anything, right?
Sure.
I
Yeah.
would like to have some cash on hand, and uh, people
For
have to budget for
emergencies.
that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Entertainment. I have here a video DVD. We don't do that anymore, but you know, we go out with friends.
Sure.
We go to
Or
the movie theater.
it could be Netflix. Sometimes you pay your Netflix subscription, but then if you want a specific movie, you have to pay for it separate. So
It's
that could be instead of a video DVD.
exactly right. So people like to go to concerts. Sometimes they do that once a year, and those could be pretty pricey too.
Sure.
Sporting events as well. Like if you want to
Huge.
go and see the Leafs and you spend the night, in Toronto, if you don't live there, the same. It's an event for people. Sometimes it's a family event that you want to do, and it has to be budget for.
Yeah.
If you have newspaper, it doesn't have to come in on paper, but you can have it on your iPad, phone, subscriptions. A lot of the newspapers are asking for online subscriptions now.
Oh
So
yeah.
all
Yeah.
that has to be in there. Magazine subscriptions, the same thing.
You know what? I'm a huge magazine subscriber. I get lots of different decor magazines. And what I do is instead of getting them myself, I ask for those for Christmas. So I know my mom is getting me one subscription for
There you go.
Christmas. So, and then the other one's one, and it's funny because like it's a year, so they're always going to come due around the same time.
Perfect.
So it's great. So that's an easy one. I can get somebody else
Perfect. You
to do
know,
that.
if you can do that and you can ask for something that maybe that's a specific magazine that you really like, that
Yeah, but this goes
for a gift
yeah,
is great.
yeah, and this goes for the whole list. So if you do have people that get you Christmas gifts or, you know, birthday gifts, instead of getting an actual thing, you can say, you know what, I'd really like, you know, an experience gift. So either a gift card for a movie or a gift card for Netflix or anything like that, or just pay my Netflix subscription for a year. Like that's all easy stuff that people can do. And it's really,
Yep.
really sweet because you know those expenses might not add up monthly. Sorry, like they're not a lot for 1 month. But if somebody wants to give you a year subscription, like that's great.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely perfect. So now another thing is the Christmas gifts. So this is another big one because what happens is that people at the end of the year, they want to do maybe a big dinner, or maybe they want to go to a cottage and they want to buy the kids some of the stuff that they want or that they've been asking for throughout the year. So you really need to put a big budget monthly to start saving for that. Otherwise, at the end of the year, what happens is most people put it on the credit card and now they don't have a budget to start paying it for next year, and then it starts adding up, right?
It's allocating that money,
Exactly.
be able to be happy with Christmas, and then to make sure that, and this is the other thing too, the kind of the domino effect of this is that if you do have it on your credit card and you can't pay your credit cards off, this is going to affect your credit score. So this is something that when people say, oh, how do I better my credit score? The answer is to pay your credit cards off every month. So not just the minimum payment, but the full payment. So if you can't afford that, you shouldn't be spending it. Sorry to say it that way, but this is something that to get your credit score high enough. So when you do ask for a loan for something like a house or to buy a car, your credit score looks really, really good. Even if you want to move to a different, you know, landlords look at it all the time. If you want to be a tenant somewhere else and you want to move out of your place, your credit score better look really good.
Exactly. So that is the one thing that a lot of people don't put in their budget. I do really recommend that you do. Traveling. Well, now we can travel, which is a good thing, but
let's save for it now.
Yeah, the thing is, I love traveling. You know, I have family in Mexico. My boyfriend is from Trinidad. We also like to go there. And there is a lot of places that I like going to. I travel to the States a lot as well.
Of course.
I always have a budget for it because that's one of the things that I like doing, right?
Yeah.
The next one is loans and credit. So if you have credit cards or a loan here, you need to put how much you owe and how much you're paying. So you can have that budget. And if you don't know how long it's going to take you to pay that off, let me know. I have a software that will do that for you. And I do that for all my clients. If you tell me how much you're paying, how much you owe, and what your interest rate, I tell you exactly to the date when you're going to be paying that off.
Right. And then the other thing too, I love that. I hate to think about it, of course, because, you know, it's this painful thing. Yeah. We love using our credit cards. Yeah. But the other thing too, is if you're paying a really, and this is the thing, I had to explain this to my daughter too, when she got her first credit card was, you know, this 19%, it's usually 19%. Yeah. Interest. And what does that look like after you don't pay for it for a few months? So this is, or you just do your monthly payment. It's not like they're just going to stop charging you this interest. Like, it's crazy. So if you really think about, like, and again, we're talking really general things here. So if you can go to the bank and say, I would like to get either a line of credit, or I want to, you know, whatever other way that doesn't charge me 19%, I can take my credit card, what I owe on my credit card, and maybe put it into some other vehicle that you're not paying crazy amounts of interest. Student loans too. Like, I don't know how much they're charging now to pay back a student loan, but all these things, like, that's why you need somebody like Araceli to really amalgamate, you know, whatever your payments are. Let somebody else look at it and say, this is what I can help you with. You know, you'll pay your debt down faster. But if you don't know how to do that, like, there are people like Araceli to help you with it. Like, this is the thing, that the fear can get overwhelming. The amount of stress that, you know, thinking that you have so many payments and how am I going to pay my bills? Yeah. If you just talk to someone and say, can you help me? Yeah. And this one, just Colette, just to let you know, if she doesn't know where to start, I can do this for you within an hour. Okay, and great. Simple, you don't have to do a lot of stuff. So let me just finish this very quick. Yeah, sorry. I get so excited though. I want you to help everybody. Another area is the taxes. If you are self-employed, you need to populate this according to what you're making, you're bringing in, which is gross, and you have to put that aside as well. Yeah. Then you get this savings here. So are you going to contribute to the RSP? Do you have a LIRA? Do you have a TFSA, RESP for the kids? You have an open investment. Maybe you want to put some in stocks, maybe a money market or an emergency fund. If you have gifts and donations, maybe you donate to your church or any other charity out there. You have a monthly subscription that you donate $20. You got to put it in here as well. If you do have any legal fees that you need to pay, parking tickets, some people owe money, so they need to put that in here as well, right? So my offer to you is, if you would like to, you know, give me a call and schedule a free consultation. That is kind of part of it. I can tell you very quickly where you are and how, you know, we can maybe fix it, right? So, but you gotta be willing to look it over, which is quite scary for people. That's right. That might be the hard part. But this is the thing, like with anything else, just like going back to going to the gym, you get your membership, and now what do? You get a personal trainer. And this is the same thing. Araceli is like your personal trainer with your finances. So that way, you know what you're supposed to be doing every day, every month. So you get in better shape financially. So it makes perfect sense. And you know, it's a free consultation. Like you can't get better than that. That's right. So, and if you
let's say that you just want to play around with the numbers, let me know. If you send me a message, I will send you the spreadsheet. You do it yourself, right? Like there's, as I said, all the information is out there, but if you need extra help, let me know, and we can get chatting and see what we can do. So
yeah. Yay! She's harmless. Look at her. She's so friendly and happy, and she'll make it easy.
Yeah, I'll try to make it easy because I know this is a hard process for people, and it's not easy to say, well, let's talk about money and what we're spending. But if you don't look at it, believe me, it's just like not, when you're dusting and put it under the rug, it's going to make a big lump. And
it's true. But the other thing too is I think a lot of us feel like we're going to be judged on not saving enough, or, we're at a certain age that we should have this, da, 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 da. Like, let's just face it. Things happen. Things happen during your life. Yeah.
If you go to the doctor and you have a pain and you don't want to tell them because you're embarrassed,
right?
They're going to be able to help you to get better. Probably. Right. It's the same thing. So, as I said, all my stuff with my clients is very confidential. It's very private. It's only between the two of you, you and I. And, and I'm just here. I have seen so many different scenarios that right now is like, I have no judgment for anybody. We all are doing the best we can, but I know that we can always do better if we look at our finances in more detail. That's for sure.
I agree. Yay!
For today. So
thank you.
Please give us your, questions, comments. Let us know if you want to know anything else. We can go into more detail about it. Please subscribe to our channel and let us know if there's any more information that you need. We are here to help. So thank you, Colette. And
thank you. That was great information. I really enjoyed that.
Excellent. So we'll see you next week.
Okay. Bye. Bye.